Hi, welcome to your Superman News Report recapping the events of the week, February 27th to March 5th, 2015. Our top news stories this week included: filming begins on the pilot episode of the Supergirl TV series, Helen Slater and Dean Cain join the cast, and we've launched a campaign to get Metropolis on the next Monopoly board game. Let's check out these stories and more in this week's Speeding Bulletin. In movie news, Entertainment Weekly published an interview with Jason Momoa in which they asked him about his role as Aquaman in the upcoming Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice and Justice League films. As for how much screen time he'll have in Batman v Superman, he said, "Well, it's Batman and Superman, it's not my movie. It's the first time in history to have them both on the screen together, and I'm just excited to see those two up there." Variety published comments by Warner Brothers Chairman, CEO Kevin Chizihara from Wednesday's Morgan Stanley Technology, Media and Telecom Conference, in which he spoke about the WB's slate of upcoming superhero films and whether Hollywood is oversaturated with the genre. He said, "The key thing is that the movies and the television shows and the games, everything looks very different. You have to be able to take advantage of the diversity of these characters." In TV news, filming on the pilot episode of the upcoming Supergirl TV series started this week. Glenn Winter, who is directing the pilot episode, sent out this photo via Twitter of he and actress Melissa Benoist, who is playing Supergirl, indicating that filming started on March 4th. Additional messages and photos were posted online this week from the first day of filming, showing the director's chair and clapperboard. Helen Slater and Dean Cain have landed guest starring roles on the pilot episode for the Supergirl TV series. TVLine.com claims that details on who the pair will be playing in the pilot are being kept under lock and key. Later in the week, the two Supergirls met, with Melissa Benoist tweeting a photo of herself with Helen Slater, who, as fans know, played Supergirl in the 1984 movie of the same name. Actor Jeremy Jordan has been cast in the role of Winslow Schott for the Supergirl TV series. Schott is described as a 20-something tech whiz, Comic-Con stalwart, who toils for Catco as a programmer, unaware of his own toying potential. Unaware of her secret, he carries a torch for Kara, whom he lives next door to. The Supergirl TV series is expected to debut on CBS around September. In comic book news, Comics Alliance spoke with Dan Jurgens about Convergence, the two-month event taking place across April and May, and asked him about the comic creators involved and just how central Superman is to the story. He said, "There's plenty of Superman inside the story, that kind of goes without saying, especially when we're visiting the worlds of Kingdom Come and Red Sun and other fine places that DC has created over the years. And there's also intrusions into the current world, so the present interpretation will also feature in the Spine series." ComicBookResources.com published an interview with Jeff Johns and John Romita Jr. to ask Jeff Johns about his decision to conclude his run on the Superman title and where the idea for Superman's new solar flare power came from. Jeff said exploring the character and the humanity of the character is the primary goal, particularly with Superman. "For me, what he does and how he acts and how he reacts is second nature. He's the ultimate superhero and I love being able to explore him without powers, with powers, in whatever scenario it is." Comic books we reviewed this week included Injustice Year 3 Chapter 22, which was reviewed by T.A. Hewitt, who gave this chapter a 3 out of 5, saying, "A ton of the same with this installment, but story was better on the whole." And from last week, T.A. also reviewed Justice League number 39, giving it a 3 out of 5, saying, 4 issues of a premise that was anything but interesting is completed with a freezing of the problem." Superman comic books available this week from March 4th include Injustice Year 3 Chapter 23 digital comics been available since March 3rd, Earth 2 number 32, Earth 2 World's End number 22, Justice League 3000 number 15, New 52 Futures End number 44, Justice League United Volume 1 Justice League Canada hardcover, and DC Comics Superman wood figure.
Go green for St. Patrick's Day on March 17th, but maybe try stay away from the green kryptonite. Grab yourself the Superman Irish Shield t-shirt from $9.99. Or how about this Superman embroidered cracked logo neon green cap for $17.99. These and other great St. Patrick's Day ideas are available from your one-stop Superman shop, the Superman homepage online store at supermanhomepage.com/shop.
In other news, a number of rare Superman collectibles will be auctioned off in the latest offering from Hakes.com. A linen-mounted 3-sheet Atom Man vs Superman movie poster is expected to fetch over $2,000, while fans of the 1940 Superman radio series will be interested in a number of rare items, including the complete collection of all 86 Kellogg's Pep buttons, which is expected to sell for over $600. Check out the entire list at Hakes.com. Warner Brothers Consumer Products has signed a global partnership with the children's watch brand Flick Flack for a new line of character-inspired watches. A total of 8 Warner Brothers watches will be launched throughout the year, featuring a range of Warner Brothers properties beginning with the DC Comics superheroes Batman and Superman. The Batman and Superman watches, which feature the iconic Batman emblem and the Superman S-Shield, are available at stores worldwide now. Warner Brothers Interactive Entertainment announced its lineup of interactive mobile games, which are inspired by some of the company's leading brands including DC Comics and LEGO. For Superman fans and DC Comics fans, in collaboration with TT Games, Warner Brothers will be releasing a mobile game version of LEGO Batman Beyond Gotham. Additionally, WB Games San Francisco will be releasing DC Comics Legends. Both games, which are free to play, are currently under development. Over the past 2 weeks, BuzzFeed and Monopoly have been asking fans to vote for your favourite city out of a pre-selected group of cities to appear in the next Monopoly board game. Now they've opened the votes for 2 spots for any city or town in the world, and the Superman homepage is opening the challenge to Superman fans to have the city of Metropolis included in the next Monopoly board game. While Metropolis is a fictional city within the world of Superman, it is actually a real place in Illinois, where the annual Superman celebration is held each year. Head to votemonopoly.com to place your vote. Washington-based Superman fan Chris Kmetz died on February 23rd, leaving behind 2 children and his wife, but saved 2 lives through the donation of his kidneys. Chris's car flipped into a drainage pond, putting him on life support. His wife Jackie mentioned to hospital staff early on her and Chris's wishes of donating his organs. She told ABC News, "Superman was his idol and the epitome of what he wanted to be, a humble hero whose purpose was to better the world around him." Our thoughts and prayers go out to Chris's family and his friends. The Superman homepage Super Trivia quiz has been updated for another month, and the 3 questions we're asking you this time around are: what is the name of the man that leads the villainous group known as the Elite? Who is Superman's counterpart in the crime syndicate? And what is the profession of the Freak of the Week in the Smallville TV episode Hothead? If you think you know the answer to all 3 questions, come by the site now and submit your entry. That's all the news there was for the week February 27th to March 5th. I'm Steve Younis from SupermanHomepage.com.
Great Scott! Great Scott! Great Scott!
Hello everyone, I'm coming to you live from the hills of China, where I just had some rice and now I'm ready. Thanks for watching. I'm Scotty V. We've had a lot of casting announcements for the upcoming Supergirl series. The most recent announcement, of course, they are apparently beginning filming today on the pilot for the Supergirl show, which we're guessing is going to air sometime in September on CBS. And some of the casting announcements to have come out recently, Steve spoke about in recent weeks, and you can see them all online and on the Superman homepage. But I was interested to find that the series is skewing older cast, and I wonder if the reason for this is because it's on CBS. On the CW, where Smallville and Arrow and Flash air, we see very young, modelly looking 20-somethings most of the time, sometimes younger, playing the superheroes in their supporting cast. When Flash was announced and I saw who was going to be on there playing scientists and doctors and police officers, and I thought they all looked 12, it seemed a little odd. The show kind of works, but I do think it's a little unrealistically young for a lot of the important types of jobs that some of these young people have. It's not often that you see both of the most important scientists in a laboratory being under 20 years old or around 20 or something like that, and that's about what they look now. They have gone to bars and things, so I guess they're supposed to be over 21, but they're very young looking, and the reason for that is that the CW skews toward a younger audience. That's their demographic, and I believe it's still mostly young tween girls who like romance and like arbitrary high school drama. To them, it seems like what is life, because to them, that's what happens in real life. The same breakup happens over and over again for the same non-reasons, the same, forlorn looks they give each other, and that's a minute-long scene because they're staring at each other and they're sad and the music plays. But that's their audience, so that's what they're skewing towards, so that's what they're trying to do. You want to please who you think is watching, and for them to connect with it, teenagers can see kind of themselves, their friends, their schools, and the situations that they sometimes go through on the CW. So that's what they normally try to do, while CBS, on the other hand, skews a bit older toward their demographic. It's long been a running joke of late-night comedians and such that CBS is for the senior crowd. It's generally a network that skews a little older, maybe a little more mature, which could be a good thing. I complain a lot about the CW dramas because they are kind of teen-oriented, and they do have a lot of writing that borders on arbitrary drama to me and passive-aggressive behavior, which tends to happen a lot in the younger demo set, and that might be something they can connect with or that they feel is something from their real life. Whereas on CBS, a drama that's a little more skewed toward the adult set, but has that superpower thing with superpowered criminals, you might be able to still get both demos to be interested in it. And the great thing about it is it's a Supergirl show, so we have a strong female character that will attract the female fan base. David Harewood was cast to play Hank Henshaw. He's 49. Laura Benanti is playing Laura Zor-El, and she's 35. Chyler Lee, who is playing Alexandra Danvers, who's going to be the stepsister, foster sister of our Kara, who has been admiring Kara's powers for a long time and is inspired to become a doctor because of those powers, is 33. We have Callista Flockhart, who's playing Cat Grant, who's 50. Now, normally Cat Grant is a contemporary of Clark and sometimes a romantic interest for Clark in the early years. Most recently in the New 52, they started Clark Ketropolis together, and they were both of the same age, and before that they had a romantic interest in each other. But now they're going with the 50-something. Does that mean that the Superman that will be connected with this Supergirl show, because we recently learned that Superman does exist and that the Lumberjack, who will be the first enemy in the series for Supergirl, has faced off against Superman in the past, does that mean that Superman's been operating for 20 years and he's 50 years old and Kara's only starting out 20 years later? Or does that mean that Cat Grant has been completely redesigned to be a much older person who probably didn't work with Clark because they're not working at the planet? It's not taking place in Metropolis as far as I can tell. So Cat Grant's kind of her own thing, but they're using that name, I guess, to make the comic book people happy. Jimmy is being played by Mehcad Brooks, as we talked about before. He's 35. Helen Slater and Dean Cain have been announced to be playing some unknown roles, but they're perfect, I believe, of the perfect age to play the Danvers parents. Helen Slater is 51 and Dean Cain's 49, so that age kind of works. Jeremy Jordan was just cast as Winslow Schott, as comic fans know him as the Toy Man. He'll be called Win in this series. He's 31. And Melissa Benoist, who's playing Supergirl herself, is only 26. When you add all those together and you mean them and get the average age, that means that the cast is about 40 years old in average. That's much higher skewed than recent comic book series that we've seen, although Gotham's on a regular network and most of the people on that show are older too, and I think it reflects the network that it's on and the demo they're hoping to attract. I don't know how long you're going to keep CSI viewers watching a series about Supergirl, but they have said it's going to be a crime procedural in the vein of CSI, where they solve a crime each week, and it's a one-and-done sort of thing, but that there will be some plot lines that cross over to future episodes throughout the season. So it won't be serialistic, as oftentimes Arrow and The Flash can be, although Flash is much more one-and-done most of the time, but there's crossovers there too. But this is going to be a crime procedural that CBS is really good at, and I guess you should stay in the dynamic that you're used to and do what you do well and do what gets you high ratings if you hope to keep a show on. Now, I don't know how long the comic book people will stay interested. I don't know how long I myself will stay interested. I'm not generally a fan of one-and-done procedurals. I like a running story that goes on throughout the season, and we see the characters develop, and there's personal stories that go on, not just let's stop this criminal and move on type of thing. So I'm not sure exactly what they're going to do, even though that announcement says that they're going to be going with a crime procedural that happens to have superpowers. Looking more forward to this. I like the casting. I think some of it is stunt casting in terms of casting named characters we know from the comics who are generally connected with Superman, but now are going to be here. Specifically Cat Grant, who seemingly won't have any connection to the Superman world other than being a character that has crossed over into Supergirl now because she's 50 and runs her own thing. And unless she worked with Clark 20 years ago and then crossed over here and is now running her own thing, which would mean Clark and Lois and all those people are older too, and this takes place much further after our Adventures of Superman stuff, I don't see how she could be a crossover for someone who worked with Clark. Or she was older already and Clark was in his 20s or 30s. But we'll have to see to find out. Hopefully come September, we'll know. and we'll see the show. Thanks, everybody, for watching, and remember, always look up in the sky.